Okay, so it's 7:30 and we are kicking off. So good evening, everyone. So I actually had to mute all so that we can have a kind of a quiet class and there won't be any form of distraction. Now, for everyone that is in this class, there must be a particular aim. Okay, we want to know how we can use Excel. We want to know how we can make very good use of Excel, especially in the corporate world. Excel is very popular, but yet not everyone actually knows how to use it. A whole lot of people are being denied jobs on a daily basis because they are not proficient in the use of Excel. So the reason why I actually created this class is so that we can actually create that awareness as well as also equip us with the needed skills to better position ourselves in the outside world, especially as this age is concerned. So just to let us know, this class is actually being recorded. I'm sure if you want to join the class, it will actually let you know that the class is being recorded. All right. So for those that cannot join this class, I'm going to be uploading the recorded version of this class to YouTube. Okay. So, all right, for those that are just joining, you are welcome. I just told us that if you are just joining, just tell us your name as well as what you do. Okay. So the class is going to be very, very interactive. The last time we had something like this, it was massive. It was massive. Okay. So what we have here is Microsoft Excel for those that are hoping to work in the corporate world. For those already in the corporate world, Excel should be easy. Excel should be easy to understand. Excel should be used in your everyday office work. Okay. But in this particular training, I'll be showing us also how to monetize our Excel skills. How about that? Okay. How to monetize our Excel skills. That is essentially one of the things we are going to be learning also. So a whole lot of people know Microsoft Excel, how to do one or two things on Microsoft Excel, but how to package these skills and monetize it and render services to many organizations that are looking for their services, they don't know how to. So at the end of today's class, God's willing, we are going to be learning how to all the different skills that we can package and say, okay, this is what I know in Excel, and this is the services I can render. So welcome. My name is Onuzrike Chukwagoze. So I'll be is it your guide or what do we call that? All right, so I'll be your guide as far as this class is concerned. So I will be anchoring the class. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to just let us know. You can raise up your hand and we'll definitely stop for you. Everyone is very, very important and everyone is super, super important. Okay, so Solomon Aderoju say he's a business development. So business development experts, you guys need Microsoft Excel. Okay, now what to expect? I believe everyone actually have a prior knowledge of Microsoft Excel. All right, I will have actually gone ahead to show us how to open Excel from scratch, or let me just show us how to. What you just need to do is on your computer, make sure that your Microsoft Office suite is already installed. Okay, then you make sure that you have your Microsoft activated so that you don't have run into any form of issue. So just double click your Excel icon wherever it is and it should open up here like this. Okay, so as you can see, when you want to open a whole new document, you just click on new and to ask you what type of document you want to open, whether it's a blank workbook or you can choose from other templates that you want to work with. So supposing I'm connected, which I am actually, it's going to search online for some of the available templates and I can now select which one I want to work with. Is that not super awesome? Most of the work has been done for you. You don't need to do anything extra. But that aside, you can also decide to open already opened Excel sheets on your computer, right? So you can probably the Excel sheet that you've been working with before now or older Excel sheets, all right? So you can save us, all right? So let me just save us a whole lot of the stress and let's just get down to business of the day. So we are going to be learning about the basics of Excel, I just want to quickly rush here now. Please, if you're a beginner in this class, can you just indicate so that I'll know exactly where to start from? Because we have a whole lot lined up for us. If you're a beginner, just type beginner. If you're a beginner, just type beginner, please. If you're in this class, if you're a beginner, just type beginner, all right? So that we don't, I want to carry everybody along, but I don't want us to like drag as we go. Okay, so working with Excel, have the Excel workbook and have the Excel worksheet. Is all right. So the Excel workbook is the whole Excel file itself, right? The Excel workbook is the whole Excel file itself. Now the Excel file is the file name .xlsx, all right? So if you can see from my screen here, the name of the file here is what? July, right? So it says what? July 25th, which is today, .xlsx, all right? So this July 25th is the whole Excel workbook, all right? Now, in the Excel workbook, you can have several Excel worksheets, all right? Now, you should also notice something at the bottom of my screen here. You have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and you have duplicates, remove duplicate 2, and all that. All these are different Excel worksheets. Now, within the Excel workbook, you have several Excel worksheets. Hope this is clear. If it is clear, then we can move on to the next item or agenda. All right. Now, what we'll be learning on this Excel is to know what our columns are as well as what our rows are. Very, very important. You cannot start Microsoft Excel without knowing what columns and rows are. Okay, so the vertical running guys is actually what is called the column. Okay, and they are represented by the letter. All right, so you have A, B up to Z. So when you get to Z, you continue from A, B, A, C. So there are a whole lot of columns to work with. Now, for the horizontal running guys, is called the rows. All right, so you have 1, 2, up to 10,000 and records and all that. Okay, now when the rows and the columns intersect, it is called a cell in Excel. When the rows and the column intersect, or the point of intersection of the rows and column is called a cell. So once I click on any part of my screen here, that means I've selected a cell. So what it means is that I'm in column G and row 15. Is that okay? Now, when you look at this part of my screen where my mouse is now, I'm moving my mouse, you should notice that it shows what? G15, which means that what? I'm in column G, row 15. So the intersection of my column letter and my row number is what is called cell reference. So only two, okay, 3 beginners. Oluyinka is a beginner. Okay. Angu is a beginner. Please, sorry, I hope I'm calling the names very well. So Dura is a beginner. So okay. All right. So that said, cell reference, the intersection of the column letter and the row number is what is called the cell reference. Please feel free to call my attention at any point and we will stop for you. All right. This class is supposed to be interactive, but I had to actually mute everyone so that we'll have no distraction. Now, the next thing you also notice is where my mouse is called the name box. All right. So whatever cell that is highlighted is shown on the name box. Now, the cell that is active now is called cell J16, and it is shown on the name box J16. And if you want to know the content of a cell at any point, just check the name box and you see the actual name, right? When we go advanced, you also notice that some of these cells can actually be assigned a name. So when the name is assigned, you'll be able to see it on the name box. Now, by the right of the name box is what is called the formula bar. Excel without formula is as good as useless. So Excel with formula is what makes it powerful. So at any point in time that you are inputting your formula, it actually shows on your formula bar. or whatever value that is contained within a cell is shown on the formula bar. Hope I'm not too fast. Okay, now at the top of your at the top of your Excel workbook is what is called the menu tabs. All right. So in the menu tabs, you have the home menu, you have the insert, you have the page layout, you have the formulas, and you have the data. Okay, and all that. So your different versions of Excel might actually appear differently, but they have one thing in common, right? So Excel 2013, 2010, 2007 might be different from what I have here. Okay, this actually 2016. I think they also have 2019 and all that. All right. So, but it's not actually that much different from each other. All right. So below the menu tabs is actually what is called the toolbars. Okay. So for the different toolbars, you have them sectionalized accordingly. All right. So they have different sections. You don't be overwhelmed with all this, because as time goes on, we'll be looking at each and every one of them. All right, so that's the brief introduction about Microsoft Excel. At the lower part of your screen also, you notice that you can do what? Zoom in and zoom out on your sheet. All right, so just click the plus sign. I notice that you can zoom in, and you click the minus sign, you can actually zoom out. All right, then if eventually you want to print document, I want to see how the document will fit appropriately, you can use your page break to actually see a preview. Okay, then you can see also the page layout to see a better preview. Okay, now I want to show us how we can easily resize our columns as well as our rows, how we can do that. Now notice this particular column that is selected, column C. I notice that in cell C1 we have what? Beginning balance. Okay, beginning balance. And in beginning balance, it's actually not fully visible on our screen. So in order to resize this particular column, you move your cursor. All right, you notice, please also take note of the different shape of my mouse cursor at the different points of my Excel worksheet. So once it gets to the intersection of C and D, you should notice that what? It changes. Is all right? So please, I want you to type following if you are following this class, so that it will not be as if I'm talking to myself. If I'm too fast, just let me know. But if you are following and you're actually understanding what's happening here, type following. Okay, type following. All right. Okay, SSB following. Yes, yes, more response. All right. Okay, so we can move ahead. All right. So there's a juicy part of what we are going to get today. So just stay with me and we're going to get everything. Now, when you hover your mouse between the point where C and D intersect, you can now drag to open up this particular cell, this particular column. Okay. So you can drag and it opens accordingly. So how to drag is you hold down your left click and you drag, you move your mouse to the direction you want it to open to. So you notice at this point, it has opened completely, beginning what? Balance. All right. So I'm just going to undo that now, and I'm going to show us how to achieve the same result faster. Because the essence of using Microsoft Excel is actually to make your work easier. All right, so we should go beyond the manual age and come to the digital reality. Okay, the digital age. All right, so another way of doing that is to double click at this point and it should open up automatically. All right, so what I just did is to do what? Double tap at this point using my left mouse button and it should open up automatically. All right, now another way of also opening up or resizing columns and rows is by right-clicking on that particular column that you want to resize, and you click on what? Column width. Click on column width. All right. So once you click on column width, you'll be able to select the actual size of width that you want to do what use. For some of us that probably will be engaging in one interview or the other, these are some of the questions that you might be asked. Okay, resize this, do this, and all that. And if you actually don't know how to, it will be a Herculean task for you to achieve. And all these things are very, very simple things that you can do what? Do. Very, very, very easy. Okay. Now, having known how to resize columns, it's also the same way to resize rows. Okay. So you just where the row is, you can just drag up to increase it to your taste, right? Or to what you want it to be. As simple as that. You might not see the importance of this until we see where we can apply it in this class. All right. Now, this is actually where I'm coming to. Okay. So we'll be able to explain what Excel workbook is. We'll be able to explain what Excel worksheet is. So within the Excel workbook, we have worksheets. So we can add several worksheets, right? So lest I forget, there's this button here at the bottom of your screen where you can add several worksheets. Does that make sense? So having done that, we are coming down to this place, right? So everybody is more interested on how they can monetize their skill, right? So a whole lot of youths in Nigeria now are actually freelancers, right? They offer digital skills. Some are web developers, some are data entry analysts, some are web graphic designers. So a whole lot, all right? So having skills in Excel is also what you can offer as a service. So today, Naira is what? 620, 630, I don't know. But whatever it is higher than 600. So earning in dollars is also what you can do with the skills you are getting from Microsoft Excel. All right. So actually packaging these skills will actually give you an edge. Knowing how to do one or two in Microsoft Excel will not help you on the long run, but knowing the exact things to do, all right, is what to push you forward. Even if you are updating your CV should read what? Shouldn't just read proficient in Excel. What are you proficient in Excel for? You can be more specific as far as the requirement is concerned by saying what? Knowledge in Microsoft Excel, especially in what? Data cleaning techniques. So some of the data cleaning techniques is what we have here on our screen. And it's going to be practical. We are going to be seeing how to achieve each and every one of these data cleaning techniques, right? Supposing you want to monetize your skill in Excel, there are a whole lot of freelancing sites that you can achieve that. There's Upwork, there's Fiverr, there's Freelancer itself, there's Truelancer, there's people per hour, there's a whole lot online that you can do that, all right? So before this class, I was just carelessly going to I carelessly went to Upwork to see some of the people that are offering Microsoft Excel services. Now, one guy that I saw was actually earning, since he started, have actually earned over $10,000 on Microsoft Excel services alone, right? So I don't want to do the calculation with you what $10,000 is, but even if it's a side puzzle, Excel can put food on your table for Christ's sake, right? Why don't you get the skill now? All right, we're already getting the skill. So spreadsheets, data cleaning skills you can monetize, right? So these are the top 8 that is actually very popular and it's always demanded at all times, especially in organizations. Okay, now we can now go ahead to look at how to actually perform each of these. Wow, I hope I'm not too fast. I hope I'm not too fast. Please, hope everyone is following. I don't want to leave anybody behind. I hope I'm not too fast. I hope I'm not just blabbing. Okay, so please, if you are lost, just call my attention. We are here for you. Okay, now, the first data cleaning technique that you should know is how to remove duplicates, all right? This is actually examples that we'll be working with. All right, the good news is that this class is actually recorded, first of all. So I'm going to be, after this class, upload the content straight to YouTube, then share the link with everyone. Is that right? So what you just need to do is to watch the video, then our WhatsApp group will still be open. If there's any issue or challenge that you have, you can quickly let us know. How about that? Does that help, Gilbert? All right. I'm lost, just going slowly. Okay. All right. So any other person that is lost. So we are going to be uploading this to Facebook and sharing the link with we all. So what you just need to do, just check uh, the group on WhatsApp. Now, to remove duplicates, we are going to be using this as an example. We are going to be using this as an example. In this example, you notice that you have what? This particular column showing what? Region. Remember, we are trying to see how we can better get the fundamentals of upgrading our skills as far as data cleaning technique in Microsoft Excel is concerned. And one of the technique is what? Data cleaning, or to clean up data. And we have this example on our screen. You have region and you have the different regions shown. So how do you clean this kind of data? Because you have some of the data is repeating itself. So you have East and you have East showing up here, right? Please, in real world scenarios, sometimes you have database like this up to hundreds and thousands of it. All right, so this is just 45 rows of data, and you shouldn't compare it in what you expect in real world. So here we are going to show you how to tackle real world problems. Now, supposing you are a freelancer and the client is requesting that you do what? Clean up the data for him, all right? And it can be as simple as that. Some people don't actually have time to do all these things themselves. Making the video available will be highly appreciated. Okay, so, all right, we are working towards that, right? So how do you clean up? How do you clean up this type of data? So what you just need to do is to select the column where you want to perform the data cleanup function, right? So you head straight to what? You head straight to what? Data, right? In our menu bar, you have home, insert, page layout, then data. Okay, then you should be able to see what is called remove duplicates. Okay, so remove duplicates. So that is the particular function that you use to do what? Clean up this data. So you click on what? Remove duplicates, and it should bring up this on your screen. Can you read what is there? It says what? To delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contains duplicates. Okay, so I've actually selected the column by default, which is the what? Region column. Okay, so you can tick my data has headers if actually the data you want to remove duplicate from has header. Supposing our data does not have header, you can just untick this. I notice that region will also be considered as part of the data itself. But ticking my data has header, it will be what? It will be removed from the data and it will be prioritized as a column header. So once you've done this, you hit what? OK. And it shows what? 40 duplicate values found and removed. 3 unique values remain. Is this not very simple? Within 1 minute, you have removed duplicates. How easy can that be to just earn your dollars? Okay, so that is one of the skills as far as cleaning up your data is concerned. So when someone tell you I have I have skills in Excel data cleaning, so don't get frightened, don't get so excited. This is just one of the skills that they can do, and also one of the things you can do yourself. right? Some people will argue, okay, why don't we just come here and delete this or delete this row and do that? But how long will it take you to remove all the different items as the case may be? Is that okay? So using that remove duplicate function will go a long way to help us achieve what we want to achieve. Is that okay? All right. So I'm just going to, okay, remove duplicates, then hit OK. And it does that for me. So we're actually using the free version of the Zoom meeting. So our time is limited to 40 minutes, and it just showed us that we'll have 9 minutes remaining, right? So once it's 1 minute, I'm going to end the class and start it again so that I'll have another 40 minutes to us. So don't get scared once you notice that the class has ended. So what you just need to do is to join back immediately. Is that okay? So hope I've passed the message accordingly. Now, having done remove duplicates, I'm going to leave this one for you to do. Okay, so I believe in I walk, you walk, because when you walk, it becomes clearer. All right, I don't believe in too much talk, but as the student, as the learner, you also have to do something. It's very easy. Just what we did here, you should also try and do that here. All right, some of the names are repeating, like Jones is repeating. Okay, like Smith is Smith repeating. Okay, Morgan is repeating. See Morgan, and you have another Morgan here. So remove the duplicates just like we've seen before now. Okay, so if you have any question, just let us know before we continue. Any question? Everyone following? Okay, so this set of class we are holding today, I think most of us are actually following, because there was one of the classes we just have to start from the very scratch, right? Some people will actually complain that they don't even know what the Excel icon looks like. Is that not super crazy? But you can never blame them. We are here to learn. Now, the next thing that we'll have to learn how to do is to do what? Clear formatting. All right. So clearing formatting is also one of the Excel data cleaning techniques that you must know, or that you have to know. Is all right. Now you have data like this, and you are asked to clear the formatting. Okay. Okay. Sorry. The second option here is data passing from text to column, right? Data passing from text to column. But I have, okay, let us just do data passing from text to column before clearing formatting. I'm just trying to follow our slide. Okay, so this one says what? Remove duplicates. So after removing duplicate, we have data passing from what? Text to column. Hope we are following. All right. Now, data passing from text to column is sometimes you notice that a particular worksheet have maybe surname and our first name on the same column. Is all right. Now, a task might come for you to do what? Separate these guys. So how do you eventually do that? How do you do that? Now, a typical user will do what? Come here and type in what? First name. Okay. Type in what? Either let's just say first name, second name, or surname and all that. Maybe surname. But this is actually not ideal. Then you start typing the first name. All right. Then come here and type the second name or the surname. In fact, before you finish entering all this data, my beans that is on the fire will have cooked and will be ready for eating. But that is something we shouldn't do. All right. So how do you now eventually tackle issues like this? Supposing you have been told, okay, separate this particular column, the data in this column to different columns, right? So the data Excel skill is actually data parsing, that is changing your text to what? Columns. There are a whole lot of things you can do. Now, what you just need to do is do what? Select the whole column that you want to do what? Apply the data parsing function to. Then in your data menu tab, you notice that you have what is called the text to columns feature under data tools. So what you just need to do is to do what? Select it. Once you select it, it should show up this that is on the screen for you. All right? It should show what is on the screen for you. I don't know whether we can see it at all. All right. Now it says convert text to column wizard. What this is actually going to do is to do what? Separate the first name, or each of the words, it's going to separate it into different columns for you eventually. But there's something that we must do before we can actually complete this step. Okay, there's something that we must do before we can complete this step. Now we want to separate this first name and surnames to different columns. So what you just need to do is advisable is to insert new columns to the right of the column we want to do what? Separate. So I'm just going to insert new columns. What I just did is to do what? Click on this column, right click, head down to insert, then click insert. Okay. All right. Click on this column, right click, then click what? Insert. It's very easy. So at least insert up to 3 columns so that you'll be on the safer side. All right. So there's no reason why you should insert up to 3 columns. But if you don't insert up to 3 columns, and probably there's a particular place that you'll be prompted to perform a function. If you don't perform that function, all these other columns will be overwritten. So in order to avoid that kind of error, it's good to be on the safe side to insert empty columns so that whatever will be written inside these empty columns. Hope that helps. All right. So having selected the columns that I want to insert the data to, so I'm going to select my column again. So I click on what? Text to columns wizard, and it should bring up this. So it says, choose the file type that best describes your data. Now you have delimited, right? Now, sometimes in database, this is actually a kind of out of scope. Some of the data is actually separated either by a comma, either by a space, either by pressing the tab key, right? So characters such as commas or tabs separate each field. That is exactly what it is in this case, because in this case, what separates each of them is what? Space. Is that okay? That is like a space between each of the names. Does that make sense? So having selected delimited, you now hit what? Next. Or should I say, when you come here, in ideal cases, you just leave everything as it is, then hit what? Next. Now, once you are here, you notice that it says what? This screen lets you set the delimiters your data contains. You can see how your text is affected in the preview below. So make sure that space is selected. If it is comma that is used as the delimiter, you select what? Comma. But in this case, it's not comma. Instead, it's what? Space. All right. Supposing I untick the space, you notice that the names comes back together as it is. But once I click space, they will be separated. Does that make sense? All right. So you click what? Next. So having clicked next, it will ask you where do you want the destination of this to be. So it says what? B1. That is, it should be fixed. What it's going to do is going to override this and create a whole new column, right? So for the sake of understanding, just leave this as it is. since we have created new columns initially. All right. So the next thing you do is to hit what? Finish. And it says what? There's already data there. Do you want to replace it? So just go ahead to hit what? Okay. And it should separate your different. Okay. So we can now continue from where we stopped. All thanks to free Zoom app. Our time is limited. Now, did you just notice what just happened? So let me just go through it again. I'm just going to undo what I've done and we'll go through it again. Is that okay? For the sake of getting it clearer. So what we just did was to select the whole column. Make sure that you are in the data menu tab. Then head straight to what? Text to what? Columns. This tool is very, very powerful. You will not appreciate it until you find yourself probably trying to separate first name and surnames. And that thing can happen almost at many instances. So you click on what? Text to column. Then once you are here, click on what? Next. All right. So once you click next, here my space is selected by default. The space is actually what the different words is separated with. Sometimes you notice that the database, each of the word is separated by what? A comma. Does that make sense? All right. So each of the word is separated by a comma. Sometimes you notice that it is space. Sometimes you notice it's semicolon. So if it's semicolon, you make sure that semicolon is selected. If it's comma, you make sure that comma is selected. But in this case, what you have what is space. Okay. So you can select each and every one of these, supposing all of them actually appear or apply to that particular database. Okay. So even though we deselect tab, semicolon, comma, we will still arrive at what we have. So supposing you deselect space, notice what is happening here, right? So it will look as if everything is coming back together. But select space, which is the delimiter, it will separate it accordingly. So you now hit what? Next, right? So this destination is where you want the data to be. If I just leave the destination as it is, it will just go ahead and overwrite what it's on column B, eventually move the other item to column C and column D. All right. But I can even decide to select where I want the destination to be. All right. So I can do what? Hit on what? You hit on this particular guy here that looks like an arrow pointing to a particular cell, and you just go ahead and do what? Select this. Okay. So once you just select it, and you can hit what? Finish. And it says, oh, there's already data here. Do you want to replace it? Just go ahead and hit what? Okay. Now, what it does is what? Because I selected where I want data to be, it leaves where it was before. Then it went ahead to add my data to whole new columns as well as this new column. So an item was entered in column E, which is this guy that has 3 names. Okay. Do you now see why I say create as many columns as possible, at least 3 in this case? So just visually look at the data before deciding on how many columns that you are supposed to or going to create. All right. Now, supposing these columns were not there initially. Now, look, notice what will happen. I want to delete these columns just so that I'll show us something. All right. So I want to delete this column just so that I'll show us something. I want to still apply that data parsing function. So I select my column and do what? Hit on text to columns, and I hit what? Next. The space is selected by default, and I hit what? Next. Right? So I hit what? Finish. Now it will say what? There's already data here. Do you want to replace it? If I go ahead to click what? OK, it's going to overwrite segment, state, and eventually region. And we are going to lose a whole lot of what? Data. So hitting OK, look at what happened, right? So it overwrote what? the data where it was initially, name, and what the data that is on column D, right? But that is actually not what we want to achieve. So that is how to parse data in Excel. Okay, so we've looked at two skills now. The first is to remove duplicates. The second is to do what? Parse data. The third is to delete all formatting, right? So to delete all formatting is just like to clear formatting. Now, where can we see? Someone say you can't see my screen. Okay, so please, who else is having that issue? Because sometimes if you cannot see my screen, it's due to network. Yeah, sometimes if you cannot see the screen, maybe it's just network. It's all right. So just probably log out and log in back. All right. Okay, so since our screen is all right, I won't want anything to jeopardize our class. So I want to make sure that everybody is with us. So to clear formatting, what you just need to do at this top part of your screen, just notice where my mouse cursor is. Supposing I want to clear formatting for the whole worksheet, just notice where my cursor is. Once I click here, it should select the whole content of my screen, right? Once I click here, it should select the whole content of my screen. And you should be able to do what? Clear whatever form of formatting, be it color, be it bold, be it italics, be it whatever. And it's going to make all text to look normal. So how do we clear formatting? Make sure that you are in the home tab of your menu area and you head straight to what? Clear. So when you click clear, it should bring a drop-down menu for you. And you should be able to do what? See clear formats. Does that make sense? Okay. So once you click what? Clear formats, it's going to clear all the formatting. Please, clear all is going to erase both formatting and all the data. Clear content is going to remove everything. Okay. So make sure that what you are selecting is what? Clear formats. And you do what? Click clear format and everything will come back to default level. Is this not super awesome? Is this not super simple? It's something that even a grandpa can do. Okay, so it's very, very simple and it's a skill that people are using to make mouth. Now you know how to, all right? So we've learned how to remove duplicates, perform data parsing functions, then delete all formatting. Now, the next thing is to do what? Proofread or spell check, right? Now we have this particular set of data, okay? At the end of this class, I'm going to actually send this particular file to you for those of you that want to go through it again. And also some of the assignment is here. So do well to request for it in case I forget. So to proofread is just like your normal proofreading in Microsoft Word or what have you. So proofreading means what? Checking for spelling error. So when you are proofreading, be very careful not to change errors due to names, because sometimes Microsoft Word, in fact, Microsoft Word, Excel, and most applications don't recognize names, especially if they are not English names. Okay, so how do you proofread? So what you just need to do is to go to what? Review section of your menu, and you should be able to see what? Spelling. Does that make sense? All right, just like you proofread on any other application. All right, so click on spelling and it should bring up this for you. Spelling, English, United, whatever. So not in dictionary. So it's have seen a what? A new word, Rosina, and it's actually under the customer name column. So what I'll just need you to do is to ignore all, or you can decide to ignore once. Or is that right? But to ignore all will save you lots of work because there are several Brosina. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to ignore all Brosina and it's going to go to the next one. All right. Now, this word, it says what? California, right? Now, this particular error is under the states. So we actually notice that it's supposed to be what? California. So we will select the one that we want to actually implement and we'll hit what? Change. Okay. So if there's another one, it will bring it up for you and you can decide to hit on what? Change all. Is that okay? Now the next spelling is under customer name. It says what? Paula. So I'm going to ignore this one once. All right. So because there are two of that particular name is still going to search for it. So it's better to click what? Ignore all. All right. So the next one is what? Chris. All right. So Excel should not tell the person how to spell his name. So let's just go ahead to do what? Ignore all Chris. Because it's under names, ignore all. All right. Still under name, ignore all. Imagine I call my name and Excel is telling me to correct my name that is not correct. That's not crazy. So I'm going to ignore all. Ignore all. All right. Linda. Okay, it's not recognizing the surname. Ignore all. Please, before you click ignore all, take note of the column where that particular word is. But this one, as it is under customer name. So it's actually picking up all the customer name. So here now we have what? Is it Minnesota? And the spelling there is supposed to be what? N, not M. So I'm going to do what? Change this, okay? So I'm going to change this, all right? So the next one, I'm going to ignore all. If you notice, it's moving from top to what? Bottom. Is that not awesome? So I'm going to ignore all for this one. So it's suggesting Swede for me, but the guy's name is Swede, whatever that is. So I'm going to ignore all. All right? So under name, ignore all. Now we have storage. Okay, so I'm going to effect this change. So have the name, I'm going to ignore once. I'm going to ignore this, ignore, right? So under name, ignore, right? So I'm going to ignore once. So ignore, I'm going to ignore, all right? So this is actually what you do under proofread. I'm going to change this. So I'm going to ignore. I'm going to ignore all. Now I have standard class. There's a class with a K, so I'm going to change that to class with a C. I'm going to ignore all of this since it's a name. I'm going to ignore all of this. All right, so it's actually very, very easy. Okay. So ignore all. So have standard. So I've seen a lot of error, and the reason why you should do what? Proofread. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to ignore all of this. I'm going to ignore all of this because it's under name. I'm going to ignore all of this. So it says what? Do you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet? Okay, let's just hit yes. Because we started somewhere, not the beginning exactly. So spell check complete, we are good to go. So that is exactly how to perform spell check in Microsoft Excel. And it's one of the many skills that you should have as an Excel data cleanup, okay? So Excel data cleaning technique that you should have, all right? So we are going to go to the next technique, which is what? Change case. This one is actually very, very interesting and powerful also. Supposing you have something like this and you are asked to make everything here capital letter and everything here small letter. How are you going to do that? So you are going to use a function called upper, all right? Remember, before typing in a formula in Microsoft Excel, you must precede it with what? An equal sign. So I'm going to hit equal sign here, and I'm going to type in what? Upper. So upper, it says what? Converts a text string to all uppercase letters. So I'm going to hit upper, then select the particular cell where I want to transform to, then close my brackets, and I'm going to hit what? Enter. So what it does is to do what? Make everything what? Capital letter. Transform everything to what? Capital letter. Is that not super awesome and very, very easy? Okay. So most of the things that we don't know how to do is because we don't actually have the right information. But here you are, live and direct. So suppose you want to transform everything to small letter, what you just need to do is to hit what? Equal to, then type in what? Lower. It's very, very easy. Then select the cell where the particular item is. Close up your brackets and hit enter. So everything will be now what? Small letter. Notice how capital letter W is now small. Capital letter what? Is okay. Capital letter M is now small. And GMT is now small. So that is actually what it does. Then you can just go ahead to replicate this down, replicate this down. Replicating means what? Copying the formula down the column, right? So that it can be applied accordingly. Does that make sense? Now, having done this, please, if you are still following, just type following so that I know that I'm not alone. I think one of our football team's slogan is what? Never walk alone. So that I know that I'm not walking alone. All right, just type following so that I know that I'm not walking alone. All right. Okay, following. Great. Okay, great. All right. If it is so overwhelming, don't worry. This will also actually still be made available online. I'm going to post it on WhatsApp or on YouTube. Posting on WhatsApp, it will actually be very, very heavy. So I think posting it on YouTube or Google Drive would be better. Then I'll share the link with us. Now, the next thing that we'll do is to, or the next skill that we want to learn is to highlight errors. Okay? To highlight what? Errors. So highlighting errors is probably if you have a set of data and you applied a certain rule so that you want to visually see if that rule is broken or not broken. Okay, so supposing I want to ensure that, okay, someone is asking, how about proper? All right, so thank you for pointing that out for me. All right, so I'm just going to create another column here, proper. All right, so that shows that we are definitely following. All right. All right, so for proper, we just hit equal to, just like we did for the others. So select what? Proper. It says what? Convert a text string to proper case. The first letter in each word to what? Upper case. Does that make sense? So actually, this original string is already proper. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the data in lower, that is in column C, to actually show how proper works. Hope that is awesome. I hope that is understood. Okay. So you are going to select that, right? That is C2, and you're going to close it and hit enter. Now look at what it does. So how do you combine upper and lower case? So proper does that for you. All right, Andrew, proper does that for you. Okay, Victor, hope we've solved the issue now. All right, so Excel is actually very, very sweet. All right, so practice, 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 practice. Thank you for pointing that out for me. Okay, so can we continue now? Yes. So you go to highlight errors. So what you just need to do is to select the cell. Okay. So select the cell where you want to apply your formatting, okay? Or where you want to highlight the errors. So go back to home, your home tab, and you should do what? You should see what is called conditional formatting, right? Conditional formatting. So conditional formatting, when you click it, it should bring a whole lot of options for you. right? So you can select any one of these depending on what you want to achieve, but you want to make it in such a way that it obeys a particular rule. Remember, if you are into freelancing, your clients or your customer or whoever is giving you a tax for dollar is going to tell you, okay, I want to make sure that all the values that are greater than 5 are highlighted. So how are you going to do that? Are you going to be looking for all the values greater than 5 and be coloring them one at a time? That will waste a whole lot of time. So why don't you automate the work process? Why don't you automate things? So in order to do what? Highlight errors or just to make highlights, you click on manage rules. Okay, so in managing rule, you can click on what? New rule. So clicking on new rule, it says what? Format all cells based on their value. Format only cells that contain. So you can select any of these options. So I can format cells that probably contain only a particular number, right? So suppose I select format only cells that contain, you can say cell value is equal to or is between, is not between. But supposing we say cell value is equal to, which number appears most here? I think it's 2, or is it 3? Okay, let's just highlight all cells that contains 2. Is that okay? So cells value is equal to 2. Okay. So equal to 2. All right. So hope you understand what is happening here. What I'm trying to do is to highlight errors. So supposing the place that will have error is all the cells that contains 2. Okay. Now, once you've done this first part, you now go ahead to format how you want the cell to be. Here you have, it says no format set yet. So I'm going to format this. So the font color should be what color? The border color should be what color? The fill color should be what? So all the numbers that contains 2, you can quickly, let me say I want to apply a blue fill color to it. Then for the border, sometimes you just ignore border because if it's filled, you already have what you're looking for highlighted. But for the sake of this class, let's just say we want to give it another border. Please, we are not designing anything so that it will not look as if, all right, so for the font color, what color do you want it to be? So I want the font color to be maybe black, right? So I hit OK. So this is how the preview will look like. And I hit what? OK. Now, this is my new rule. So for every particular cell in column G, that's why I have G to G, that the value is 2, it should be formatted in what? It should be highlighted in what? Blue. So I can hit apply to see what happens, right? And if what I'm having there is okay by me, I can go ahead to hit what? Okay. But if it's not okay, I can go ahead to edit my rule. Okay. So supposing I want to edit it so that the text is what? White color. And I go ahead to select white. I hit what? Okay. Okay. Then I come here to do what? Apply my settings. So my text is now white color. And I can now hit what? Okay. It's very, very easy to do what? To achieve. Okay. Now, there are a whole lot of rules that you can actually implement. You can decide to actually select all the cells in column F where the starting letter is what? B, or where the starting letter is a particular alphabet. Or you select all the cell where maybe the content is consumer in column C, where the content is consumer and all that. You say MacBook does not allow me to follow and practice. Okay. So is it that I cannot connect to Zoom or something? All right. So what you just need to do, don't worry about your MacBook. We are going to make the video available online. Is that okay? All right. So having dealt with that, Nura Abubakar is raising up your hand. So you can just type is there any challenge you're having? So this class is supposed to be 1 hour. We've gone past 1 hour. Hope you don't mind, and hope I'm forgiving for taking your time. Okay, so we can just continue to that. Maybe if Nura eventually type what he needs, we can attend to him. So the next thing is to the trim function, right? Remember, we are almost exhausting all the necessary data cleaning techniques that we need to have as masters in Excel, all right? So between today, you will have gone from beginner to at least a little bit of what? Advanced. Tomorrow is going to be a whole new set of techniques that will be what? Getting as Excel, as masters in Excel. Then you can also, I have 10 more minutes to round up this class. Please, let's hurry up so that we'll just end it and end it for good. If there's any other thing, we can continue in the class. Is that right? Okay. So the trim function, what the trim function does is actually, if you have cells or if you have data that has maybe unusual spacing between them, you can just use the trim function to make everything look neat. Is that okay? So I'm just going to apply trim here, and I should be able to see how it looks like. So remove duplicate. You notice that what some of the words are not evenly spaced. Clean data in Excel spreadsheets. Some of the words are not evenly spaced. Data entry jobs as a freelancer. Some of the words are not evenly spaced. Okay, so I actually had to quickly come up with this so that I can show us how to use this trim function. All right, so it's very, very easy. It's very, very easy. At the end of this class, you should at least have something up your sleeve. I know how to clean data in Microsoft Excel. How about that? I can remove duplicates. I can pass data in Excel. I can delete all formatting. I can spell check. I can change case using the text functions, lower, upper, proper. I can highlight errors. I can use the trim function. I can find and replace. How about that? Is that not super awesome? So using the trim function, what you just need to do is to say what? Equal to trim. Okay, so just start typing trim and you should see it. And once you selected it, you can now select the cell that you want to apply the trim, close your bracket and hit what? Enter. Now notice the magic that happens here. Okay, now compare this first result and the second result and see that this second one is appearing neater. So I've removed unwanted spaces from my trim. Does that make sense? So for the second one, I'm going to equal to, okay, I'm going to type it again and I'm going to select the cell and close the bracket and hit what? Enter. And it's going to remove all the unwanted spaces for me. All right. So that is actually what the trim function does. And someone can actually pay you to do this. It's very, very easy. Okay. So remember the platforms we mentioned earlier, which is what? Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer, freelance, people per hour. There are a whole lot of it, right? So if you need help opening any of those platforms, you can just let me know. Okay, but that should be in the WhatsApp class. So that is exactly how to use the trim function. Then find and replace is something that is very, very easy to do. Okay, so while on the home tab, you should be able to see what this guy that looks like search, where it says what find and select. All right, so find and select. Once you click it, you see find, you see replace. Okay, so sometimes the client will tell you, or whoever is your supervisor or whatever work you are doing might necessitate that you change some certain words, some other certain words, right? So supposing I click on find and replace, it will tell me what are you finding and what do you want to replace it with. Find what, all right? So supposing I want to find all California. So supposing I want to find all California. So or let me just leave California. Suppose I want to find all Texas. Let me just use something that's, and I want to replace all Texas with what? Which state now should we use? Which states? Okay, let me just use NY. Is there NY here? Okay, so suppose I want to replace all Texas with what? NY. So I can replace all. That means it will find all and replace all. Okay, or I can find it one at a time. Does that make sense? So you can do what? Find next. So once it finds it, you click what? Replace. But this is going to be very, very slow. So when you click on find next, you click what? Replace. But now look at what happens when you do what? Find all. So it's going to list all the where Texas is. Okay. So once you click on find all, you can now boldly go and click on replace all. So all done. We made 13 replacements. Is that not super easy? Very, very easy. Easy, easy, easy breezy. So now that is what you have for today as far as Excel is concerned, as far as Excel is concerned. So please, once if you're watching this video on YouTube, do try and subscribe to our YouTube channel, okay? Because we'll be dropping content like this as time goes on. Then if you have any question, also drop it in the comment section and let us know how best we can use it. I'm going to open up the chat first now. If you have anything to say, let us know. Then that is the end of the class. If you have any question, let us know also. Zoom is trying to tell us I'll have 3 minutes and 50 seconds to end this class. So let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see in the WhatsApp class. Please, if you enjoyed the class, just drop it in the WhatsApp class. Don't be stingy. Just drop a review in the WhatsApp class. That is also a way of encouraging us, encouraging me. All right. So thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful. So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time, 7:30, because I notice that some of us are actually having prayers by 7 o'clock. So tomorrow, our class starts by 7:30. If you have any challenge, drop it in the WhatsApp class. Thank you very much.